All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shishiguru and Shigoranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonon, Chapter 75, the humiliation of Duryodhana. Text number 28 and number 29. Tato Yudhishthiro Raja Sruhitsa Bandhi Bandhanam Sruhitsam Bandhi Bandhavam Premani Varajam Asha Premnani Varajam Asha Krishnam Chatyagakatara Krishnam Chatyagakatara Tato Yudhishthiro Raja Suhrit Sambandhi Bandhavam Premani Varajam Asha Krishnam Chatyagakatara Tato Yudhishthiro Raja Suhrit Sambandhi Bandhavam Premnavni Varajam Asha Krishnam Chatyagakatara. Please chant. Tato, then Yudhishthira Raja, King Yudhishthira, Suhrit, his friends, Sambandhi, family members, Bandhavam, and relative, Premna, out of love, Nivarajan Asha, stop it then, Krishnam, Lord Krishna, Cha, and Tyaga, by separation, Kataraha, distressed. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. At that time, Raja Yudhishthira stopped a number of his friends, immediate family members, and other relatives from departing. Among of them, Lord Krishna. Out of love, Yudhishthira could not let them go, for he felt the pain of imminent separation. Imminent separation. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Rama Swami Iti Namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashatyade Satarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Text number 29, sorry about that. Bhagavan api tatranga nyavashit tat priyam kara pratas prastapya jadubirams cha sambadims cha Kushastalim. Translation. My dear Kid Parikshit, the Supreme Lord remained there for some time to please the king. After this, after first sending Shamba and the other Jadu heroes back to Dwarka. On text number 28, both 28 and 29, there's a commentary by Srila Jiva Goswami. So I read that. Text number 28, Srila Jiva Goswami. It was already said briefly that Krishna, along with his wife, left, though Yudhishthira did not want this to happen. This happened later. After sending off persons related to the sacrifice, he made some who wanted to return home stay, out of great affection for them. After the sacrifice, Tata, after sending the priests to their abodes, he prevented close friends like Bhishma, relatives like Drupada, and other well-wishers, and Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, from leaving. The reason was previously stated. Now the effects of that impeding separation are described. He was overcome with suffering of separation. And then in text number 29, so now Sukadev Goswami is addressing Maharaj Parikshit in this verse. And Srila Jiva Goswami comments, one should not think that Krishna, who is independent, did not want to stay. Rather, because having affection for his devotee, his affection manifested in staying. Though he was supremely independent, Bhagavan Api, he stayed in Indraprastha along with his queens constantly, ni avasit, in order to please his devotee Yudhishthira, tat priyam kara. Quote, but he should also please the people of Dwarka, who were suffering from his long absence. End of quote. He sent the Jadu heroes back in order to pacify them. Quote, How could they be pacified by his sending them? End of quote. They were his expansions. He sent back Shamba and others back to backs back and others back since Pradumya has stayed in Dwarka. He sent Samba and others back with their sons and their mothers. So there is it is explained, especially now that we are celebrating the passings of Lord Jagannath, and this subject matter of union and separation are at the heart of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. And it's a very deep subject matter that is not very easy to understand, especially for aspiring devotees or neophyte devotees or devotees like many of us are still afflicted by the modes of material nature. And it's very difficult to understand. We can only follow the instructions, the guidelines, and the example of those who are in that very elevated position. So it is explained by our Vaishnava acharyas that this position of separation is the highest stage of love of Godhead that is there. It's the most intense manifestation of the pure love in between the devotees and Krishna. Both Krishna and the devotees, they experience this supreme ecstasy of love that comes from this separation. And the intensity is explained that is so high that actually nothing even comes close. Not even when you meet Krishna. So it is explained that the happiness of devotion in separation is greater than the happiness of devotion in union, which is quite something. Um, and in one sense, the way our acharyas give us entrance to this truth, or this supreme truth, is then you can understand it from in a how you say nominal, like a nominal understanding is you can understand by theory, and it makes sense when you hear it from them. They explain it very, very accessible, the explanation. But if you try to analyze, so when you accept it from the perspective of receiving knowledge in a descendant way, then you can have access to that. You have the capacity to receive it. If you try to understand them from the perspective of logic, then forget about it. Not possible. It's not possible. So the embodiment, it is said, the swarup of this, the term in Sanskrit is viraha. So there is these two things, sambhoga and viraha. So the word sambhoga is someone in this sambandhi. Well, sambhoga means union, and viraha means separation. So it's explained that in union, so we see here Maharaj Yudhisthira is caught in this moment in which the impending separation is coming, And he's already started to feel the all the emotional turmoil that comes from this separation from the object of your love. And um, and then he wants to maintain the union. So it is explained that in union, this is how it goes. In union, um, externally you're unified with Krishna, but internally you're separated. In other words, when the devotee, this is how our acharyas explain, when the devotee is in union with Krishna, the devotee's meditation is to take Krishna within the core of his heart, of her heart. So you want to bring Krishna into the core of your heart and embrace it. Sometimes we hear that the gopis are looking at Krishna and then they bring in Krishna into the core of their heart, or they want to bring Krishna into the core of their heart to embrace him. So there is union externally and there is separation internally, and the desire is to bring Krishna within the core of your heart. And then in separation, you're externally separated with Krishna, but internally Krishna is fully present within your heart. So now you want, the desire of the devotee is to that Krishna from within the heart, the manifestation of Krishna from within the heart manifests externally. So there's this difference. And so Lord Chaitanya is a manifestation of that separation. Because Lord Chaitanya, um, he's the embodiment of that separation, or that mood of separation. Um, so he comes to this world to teach us and to give us the path to that highest position of connection with Krishna. And that's, he's doing that as a teacher, as an example. He is exemplifying that. And our acharyas constantly tell us that therefore he is the most magnanimous, because he is tasting, he's experiencing, he's showing by example what is to be in that mood of separated from Krishna. We are away from Krishna. And then how can we enter into that mood of establishing Krishna from within our hearts and then trying to unify it again with Krishna? So the intensity of that separation will actually lead us to have this complete union with Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya teaches that in a practical manner. He is the embodiment of that. And I was just appreciating, I didn't know these prayers of the um, Jagannath Ashtakam was written by Lord Chaitanya. It says, by Lord Chaitanya. So, I mean, yesterday I was saying, wow, they're so beautiful. The prayers, the content of the prayers, the substance is so beautiful because it's Lord Chaitanya's ecstasy. And it's quite something incredible that in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, we're given entrance to the most inner heart of the personality of Godhead. And not only of Him, that is Krishna, but Krishna showing us the mood and the heart of His greatest devotee, Srimati Radharani. I mean, it's incomprehensible that a conditioned soul have the capacity, by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, to enter into that space. I mean, you think about it, how intimate that space is. between Krishna and Srimati Radharani. And Lord Chaitanya is open, basically, sharing with all of us the heart of Srimati Radharani. And especially the heart of Srimati Radharani in the most intense space of the manifestation of her love for Krishna, which is in separation. And that moment is highlighted in the passage of, in the 10th canto, when Uddhava visit Vrindavan. And understand who Uddhava is. Uddhava, among outside Vrindavan, is the highest devotee. Is the devotee who is in connection and intimacy with Krishna, is on the highest level. And then when he came to witness the love of the inhabitants of Vrindavan that is governed by the heart of Srimati Radharani, and what to speak when he actually came into contact with Srimati Radharani, his conclusion was, I just want to be a blade of grass in Vrindavan. That's it. And not even aspire to be one of the gopis of Vrindavan. It's too elevated. And that's Uddhava. I just want to be a blade of grass so I can take the dust from the lotus feet of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the Vrijavasis, and especially of the cowherd girls of Vrindavan. So we're given that gift. We're given the gift of the path of this viraha bhakti, of this bhakti in separation, devotional service in separation. And we see for the devotees, they actually go externally appears this terrible condition of suffering, of anguish, to be separated from basically your life. The connection is so beautiful and intense that to think that this is going to be taken away is just too much. And it becomes too much that even the consideration of a moment, Govinda Virahename, is like considered like, many, many, many years, 12 years or more. Oh Govinda, feeling your separation and considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. It's a position of anguish. So, how that could be a desirable something? And is for the devotee, is something that it will become clear to us. Srila Prabhupada explains, it will be clear to us when we move from anartha nivriti to artha pavriti. So there's these two things, anartha nivriti and artha pavriti. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita is explained by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Anartha nivriti is the stage in which the sadhaka or the aspiring devotee have to go through. It's a stage of purification. So our focus is to become free from all the unwanted things. That's the stage that many of us find ourselves in. Anartha means unwanted things. Artha means those things that are desirable. Anartha means undesirable things, unwanted attachments, all these conditions, all these delusions, all these things, that are part of the condition, the materially conditioned situation in which living entities find themselves in this material world, will become free, cleansed with all those things. When we're cleansed, then artha pavriti means now the cultivation of the real things, the valuable things. And what is this valuable things? The activities of loving devotional service to the personality of Godhead. So you start to get into the bhava bhakti, in which the manifestation of your natural loving propensity to the personality of Godhead fully start to manifest, open. It's like, a flower opening like that. So in that stage, then we can start to understand these uh, um, feelings of union and separation, and that these different ecstasies that are there. And you can start to appreciate that stage. When Uddhava went to Vrindavan, externally he found that the inhabitants of Vrindavan were barely alive, barely holding to their lives. And in the stage of separation, but he could understand that the manifestation of their divine love for Krishna was so intense that he was in awe and reverence, to the point that, he just wanted to remain there as a very, very simple blade of grass. There is in our Gaudiya Vaishnavas tell us that there is 10 stages of this viraha prakash, or this viraha um, devotional service in separation. 10 stages, and they're not they they don't sound great externally. I mean, it's with a lot of anguish. So I read it for you. Mahaprabhu is always feeling acute pangs of separation from Krishna. He is always crying. Radharani has different stages of conditions in her feelings of separation. The same stages, the same feelings has been manifested by Mahaprabhu because he is in Radha Bhava. There are 10 stages: dasami, dasa, chinta, anxiety, jagara, wakefulness, udvega, mental agitation, tanavaha, wasting away of the body, malinam gata, uncleanliness, pralabha, talking like a madman, vyadhi, disease-like, ummada, madness, moha, fainting, and mritu, death. So it can even die from separation. It happens to, remember who? Maharaj Dasarat, right? He died from separation. The inhabitants of Vrindavan did not die, but the reason did not die, they did not die because Krishna promised that he will come back. So they were waiting. They were waiting. When you visit Vrindavan, there's one, you hear the passan, but there's one deity of a cowherd boy uh, that is in the tip of Govardhan, and the very very last tip of Govardhan. Govardhan is explained that it's like a pickup. So in the end of the tail of then there's a little shrine on this cowherd boy. Can't remember his name. Baba or can't remember his name. Um, but the shrine explains that this cowherd boy in a little shrine, there's this devotees, cowherd boy sitting, looking at the road. And the road is a road that leads to Mathura. And explains that when Krishna was, Akrura was leaving him, was leaving Vrindavan with Krishna, then Krishna talked to this devotee, this cowherd boy, and told him, I mean, he was just about to die. And he said, no, 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 don't worry, I will come back tomorrow. I will come back. And that pacified him and say, you coming back? Yes, yes, I will come back, I promise you. And then, okay, I'm going to be sitting here waiting for you. And then that's him sitting there waiting for, and he didn't eat, he didn't sleep, he just stayed there, sitting, waiting for Krishna all the time. And then, he was glorified like that. So that's the inhabitants of Vrindavan were holding to life because Krishna promised that he will come. And we know that in the writings of the Acharyas that Krishna came back. Srila Jiva Goswami in the Gopal Champu, he described how Krishna came back to Vrindavan and then spent time and then eventually send all the Brijavasis back to Goloka Vrindavan, the spiritual world. So this is the manifestation. There's very beautiful writings, on each one of these stages, these 10 stages that is described by Vaishnavacharyas, but that's, no time for that. But in a nutshell, we can understand that the internal ecstasy or the internal union with the Lord it manifests in a much more intense way our desire and our devotion and our love for Krishna. And that's the whole idea. That's why we're directed by Lord Chaitanya. This is a path. Because somehow or other, we made the terrible choice of leaving Krishna's association, to try to be away from Krishna. So in this material world, to develop that internal desire of separation from Krishna that will bring us again, it will manifest in this very intense desire to unify with Krishna. Then that is what Lord Chaitanya is teaching us. That is the position of the Brijavasis. That is the entrance that we have. And that is something that an experience of love that is so intense that is beyond the comprehension of conditioned souls. It's something also that is experienced by the Lord Himself. And Lord Jagannath is a manifestation of that love in separation. The form of Lord Jagannath is that manifestation. Last week we were discussing with Bhaktin Karina, we were discussing about that, about Lord Jagannath's pastime of the manifestation of the form of Lord Jagannath when in Dwarka, feeling tremendous separation, and uh, just by hearing of the presence of Krishna, then Lord Krishna manifested the form of Lord Jagannath. Oh, the three of them, Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev, and Lady Subhadra, they manifested that form in which, the eyes became very big, the smile. That's the form of the ecstasy. It's an ecstatic form. The ecstasy of love in separation. And it manifests in that beautiful form. And that's what Lord Jagannath is the embodiment of that ecstasy. Is a manifestation of that ecstasy, external manifestation of the Lord. And it's a form that is there. There's a pastime. I'm going to read it and end with that. There's another pastime in which Lord Jagannath manifested to Srimati Radharani in that form. Read it. Okay. This was described by one of Srila Prabhupada's, one of ISKCON great saints, Srila Gorgovinda Swami. He describes this pastime. Log of wood. Just at the moment Krishna's chariot reached Brajabhumi, as soon as Krishna arrived in Braja, he jumped down from his chariot. Yogamaya was manifesting another lila, and as if by providential arrangement, Krishna appeared there in Nidhuvan, where Radharani was lying as if dead. Krishna ran there, and from his mouth the words were coming, Radhe, Radhe, Dehi Pada, Palavan Udaram. Quote, oh Radhe, please give me your lotus feet. I want to put them on my head. Krishna is shouting in that way. Such a wonderful lila was manifest. Krishna, feeling the acute pangs of separation from Radharani, became completely ecstatic. His hands and legs were pushed into the body. He became like a tortoise. This is the form of Jagannath. With big dilated eyes, he was only gazing at Radharani, who was lying there in the kunja, and as if dead. Seeing her condition, he lost his consciousness and fell to the ground. In that form, he is feeling the acute pangs of separation from Radha. That is the form of Jagannath. Radha Baba Sinduri Bashamana, as if he is a log of wood floating in the ocean of Radha Baba. The wind was blowing over the transcendental body of Krishna. When that wind touched the body of Radharani, who was just about to die, it acted like a soothing balm. Radharani life returned immediately. In a very sweet voice, Srimati Lalita whispered in the ear of Radharani, quote, Krishna has come. When she heard this, Radharani gradually opened her eyes to see her Prana Vallabha, most beloved Krishna. This was the medicine by which she regained her life and got up. Now she has forgotten everything. All the pangs of separation has completely gone. But Krishna, still unconscious in this tortoise-like form, seeing Krishna in this condition, Srimati Radhika gave direction to her Priya Shaki, Vishaka. Please help Krishna. And Vishaka knows what medicine to apply. In a very sweet voice, she started to chant the name Radhe, Radhe, Radhe in the ears of Krishna. Hearing this, Krishna regained his consciousness and opened his eyes. Krishna looked at Radharani, and Radharani looked at Shamasundar Krishna, eye to eye union. Then everyone forgot the past condition. Where's Dwarka? Where are Krishna's pang of separation? And where's Shrimati Radharani's viraha? All these things are now gone, have now gone. This is the union of Radha and Krishna in Nidubhan Kunja. Jai. Okay, so I stop here. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Subal Prabhu, for the class. I have two questions. One question: why, Lord Jagannath is getting sick before Rath Yatra?
It's a good question. Uh, I'm not sure. I think we always hear, that he have this very sweet pastimes and very creative, and everything he does is to engage devotees and enhance the devotees' attention and things like that, and bring out all this. So the pastime goes that we bathe him, and then because the breezes and all that, out is an outdoor festival, this Nana Yatra, he gets a call. But now, when he gets a call, uh, he have to be attended. And in fact, as you bring this, it naturally brings this sort of caring for the devotees. It did to me, because I have to do some offerings. So then, you have this effect. Lord Jagannath is sick. So, I go in automatic in the morning to prepare the fruit drink for the Lord. And I make, a fruit drink with yogurt. So I'm making this drink, and then I realize, wait a minute. And then part of the breakfast also, you serve yogurt to the Lord. And I say, wait a minute, but he has a cold. Yogurt is very bad for a cold. So no, no, no. We have to make a tea, and it have to be a ginger tea. You make a tea that is for a cold, ginger tea with pepper, some like honey, very hot and very, very, a lot of ginger for Lord Jagannath. So you enter, you're thinking, oh, no, no, we have to do this special thing for Lord Jagannath. So I thought, wow, how beautiful this is, because, you know, you can fall into an automatic thing and you're not thinking, you're just doing the task. But the Lord, with his sweet pastimes, he makes you think. He's a person and he's sick, so you want to take care. And then, and then that brings a whole different consciousness. When you go and do the worship, then, you offer obeisance, you say, oh my Lord, I hope you get better soon. So that type of thing. And it brings the connection closer. So I think in my level, that's what I understand. Now, of course, I'm sure the Lord has, for different levels of consciousness and intimacy with the Lord, there's all kinds of things that opens and one can understand. In my level, it's like by his pastimes and his arrangement, he gets you out of this dullness of daily even performing devotional service in a mechanical way. So I think it's very beautiful, and I'm grateful for that. So maybe we can see like that, that, oh, it's so sweet. He gets sick, and then we can take care of him.
Okay, thank you. And the second question is that feeling of so I so I just want to make sure that I understand correctly. So the feeling of separation, right? So it happens after anartha nivritti, right? So is it close to nishtha or ruchi level?
I think I'm not sure either. I have to read more about that. Uh, what this is actually Srila Bhaktisiddhanta explains about these things. I'd read you more what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said to answer this question. Uh, um, and he's making the emphasis that, you know, we have to know the goal, and the goal is to enter into that intimate space of love with Krishna, in which these emotions comes and goes, into these ecstatic emotions. This is the whole thing of the nectar of devotion, the Baba Bhakti and the Sthai Bhakti. What's it? The different terms that Srila Rupa Goswami used, Sthai Babas and all these things, all these different emotions. That's the goal. The goal is to enter into that space and not necessarily to become purified and to become free from material, from a material condition and become a pure devotee. That's not the goal. The goal is to enter into that. So when, at what stage, I'm not sure. I'm assuming is when you go to Baba Bhakti, but I'm not sure. But I read you what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said a little bit, because it's just pretty fantastic. And it's his own words. He called it the real necessity. Let me see. I know that you're not ready to hear it, but we should know that such a transcendental idea exists within the realm of devotion. This is why anartha nivritti is essential. After the realm of anartha nivritti is artha pavriti, pure conjugal service to Radha and Krishna. This is a transcendental reality. If we do not know of this transcendental realm, then all of our efforts may end in nirvisheshavada, impersonalism. Do not let your days pass in trying only for anartha nivritti. Artha pravriti is also necessary. Anartha nivritti is necessary until artha pravriti has started. When artha pravriti is present, then anartha nivritti becomes unimportant. Artha pravriti becomes prominent. Those who have chanted Harinam for 15 or 20 years should know these such things. That's a little embarrassing here. The beginning need, the beginners need to hear this the beginners need not hear these topics as they will misunderstood understand. These topics are far certain. These topics are for certain audiences, not for all. Also, it is says, "Apana bhajana kata nakahiva jata tata." One should not indiscriminately reveal one bhajan mood and practice of worship to others. Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Anyway, he goes on saying the things, that, and you see how Prabhupada, he gave us the 10th canto, the Krishna book. And in Krishna book, there's entrance, there's revelations there of the mood of love of the Brijavasis. And then he gave us a Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you know, all this truth, all the writings of the Goswamis are basically encapsulated, contained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's a Sriman Bhagavatam with the realizations and the writings and the expanding on Sriman Bhagavatam within the writings of the Goswamis is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's really out there. So it's a postgraduate studies, Srila Prabhupada explains, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, we still Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Shastri, like that. And we endeavor to chant, to do our sadhana. And with that, come to the stage of become purified, come to the Nishta stage, and start to go more directly in the cultivation of these more high spaces of devotion, the Raganuga Bhakti. So, so for us, we have to wait. When is it start? I think sometimes Prabhupada explains when you're very hungry, as you start to eat, you start to feel the decrease of that hunger. So that's a symptom of you being, nourishing yourself. So at one point you'll be fully satisfied. And so these things will manifest in time. So that's the best I can do on that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you
Thank you.
so much.
So the description in this text from Srimad Bhagavatam was King Yudhisthira um, fearing separation and hence encouraging Krishna to remain. And in the discussion that you brought up, there's the idea that in the case of being separated from Krishna, actually the sense of closeness is greater because Krishna is embraced within the heart. So it still doesn't change the fact that um, the presence of Krishna directly for Maharaj Yudhisthira is extremely significant, and it does allow for direct loving exchanges.
Oh, for sure, yes. So it just fluctuates into those, ecstatic emotions of union and separation. And one fits the other. And but it's explained that of the two, the one, the separation is supreme because it's more intense. So you have to get there to fully understand it. We can just accept it, you know. I mean, we're given entrance again to those moods by Lord Chaitanya's pastimes and by Srimati Radharani's pastimes. But Lord Chaitanya is teaching us, what he goes through in these moods of separation. And he is sharing it with us, which is quite something and beautiful.
I'm just recalling that, and it's probably because of thinking of the class yesterday, uh, that there was a moment when King Yudhisthira was worshipping the lotus feet of Krishna, and it was part of the sacrifice. And when he had to take the water and sprinkle it on the head of himself and relatives and other persons present, that actually there were tears flowing. So he actually couldn't see Krishna at that moment. So I guess it's just to reinforce the point you made that there are these ecstatic exchanges.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the prayers, the Shikshastika prayers goes also through those emotions, And the Shikshasaka prayers also are described in accordance with all these different stages of devotion. Like the Anishtata stage is the two first verses, and the stage of Nishta is described in the third, Trinara Pisunichana verse, that's Nishta. And then the other stages, they start to exemplify, you know, the other stages of Ruchi and Ashakti. And the stage of Baba is, you know, the the one Govinda Virahename, you know, when there's separation. Maybe that's an answer to your question. I don't know. But, you know, in the Shikshastaka, these emotions are given. Uh, oh Govinda, when will my eyes uh, be filled with tears of love when I chant your holy names? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your names, Lord Chaitanya? Uh, so that's what we're supposed to get to. That's what we're supposed to get to. For now, just try to hear the mantras, you know, and become steady in your practices, you know, like that. All right. Thank you. Grantara Shiman Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Jagannath Swami ki jai, Taigora Premanande.